Welcome everyone. As we are getting all set up here, we're waiting for everyone to hop in. Hopefully you are here for Google Slides Intermediate. So that is the course for today. It is the second part of a Google Slides series, Google Slides Intermediate. And I'm going to get back to my home screen here for you. And there you go. There is a bit.ly in the upper right-hand corner that you can type in to access this slide deck. And we will get started momentarily. We have some more friends joining us.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, go for it.
I think you did Google Slides Intermediate last week as well. Is that correct?
I did Google Slides Basics last week.
Oh, okay. All right. Thanks.
Yeah, so we're going to take it up a notch. And I also have, we're teaching Google Slides Advanced tomorrow during the same time block. It's at noon tomorrow. So if you'd like to join us for that as well. While we're admitting our last friends, wanted to go ahead. Looks like a number of people are joining us in our document. Looks as if you can probably grab that link in the chat as well. You can see our faces there on the introduction slide. My name is Carrie Cunard. I'm pictured on the left there. Elementary classroom teacher in Beaverton for years and years. Been working on the digital curriculum team now. That's my newest role, and my job is to help with remote learning. So everything technology that helps you to pull off this year. That is what I'm tasked with helping with. And we have two co-hosts today that will be sharing information with you, jumping on to give tidbits, and also helping to navigate our chat. So Nicole Carter is here, and she has primarily been intermediate teacher, an ELA teacher for years and years, and she is a tech genius, so she can answer lots and lots of our questions. And my friend Kristen McCartney is here as well, and she is the queen of running the chat for us. She is on the digital curriculum team as well, so she'll be helping us out. You can stick any questions that you have in the chat for us. We do have a big group, so, and only 45 minutes, which is just, it's super, super hard to get through this much content in 45 minutes. So I did want to preface that you have been given I realize, a ridiculously big slide deck. There are more resources in here than we will be able to talk about. But this is the same slide deck for all three courses. So really quickly, I want to make sure you knew that you are being videotaped. We are recording this session so other people can watch it at a later point in time. So I'm going to jump right here. I'm on slide 4 if you're following along with me. I did mention that we have 3 different sessions for Google Slides PD. We did basics last week, and you can access the recording here on the bottom of that agenda. This is the hope for today's intermediate class, but you know how that goes. You make a lesson plan and then you see if you really can accomplish all that you want to. And then we will have an advanced training tomorrow, and that's what I'm thinking that we'll cover, and we may have to bump some things over from intermediate. As you're looking at this daunting list, please know we cannot possibly cover all of this in 45 minutes. Consider today like an appetizer course, right? We will introduce you to a ton of different possibilities and uses for slides, and some you'll walk away knowing exactly how to do, and some you may need to experiment with, play with, maybe watch some of the resources. I'm using a slide, ironically, right, to create this training. And I have put in here, I don't even know, I lost count, 150, some crazy amount of slides here for you as a learning tool. So you are welcome. Please invite you to come back through here. I didn't quite get that. I want to review that. These are all linked here, so you can jump right to that page. And there are just a ton of resources in here. So that's the idea behind building it in this slide deck. We're going to jump right into the intermediate step because that's what today's class is. So if you had any of basic questions, you're again welcome to watch that video. So I'm going to touch this hot link up here on intermediate, and you'll notice that we had it linked, which we learned how to do last time. It is going to jump me to where I want you to be in the slide deck. So if you can click that link and hop right into the intermediate portion, it takes you right there. And I do have the under construction, and of course this slide deck is is a work in progress. We're continuing to add to it and make changes. And I invite you, if you have some wonderful resources that you'd be willing to share with other people, to please send them to us and we'll get them added in for other teachers as well. So the slide deck is broken up into basic skills, intermediate skills, advanced skills, and then at the end, I have just been, as I come across an interesting use of Google Slides, a way a teacher has utilized it, I've stuck those at the end for you in just terms of examples. If you click on any of those examples, it will take you to a copy of that deck. So you can, actually some of them you could just take right there and utilize them or manipulate them for your own classroom use. All right. I'm all the way down on slide 26 if you're following along. And I wanted to start with this slide really quickly because I think people often say that Google Slides is the equivalent of PowerPoint presentation. And when you think of PowerPoint, I think of a teacher standing in front of a class delivering content, right? The kids are all listening. I've got bullet points up behind me and everybody's watching what I'm doing. And that certainly is a use, but Google Slides is just so much more comprehensive than that. And so I put some possibilities for instruction right here. Of course, this is absolutely not the limited list, but there are so many things you can do with Google Slides besides that original version, right? Just standing there delivering content. And again, within this section, I hot linked all of those for you. So one of the things you can do is just simply deliver content, right? You could have kids sitting there or virtually at their house and you are just giving them information. Could be lecture style, right? Like it could just be your whole lesson plan kind of pulled all together, where you start off with, here are our learning objectives, here's our essential question, there could be a video or something to launch. We'll talk layout in just a moment. I have an example over here. We have a 7th grade meiosis notes, which is a fancy science term there. But you can look and see how the teacher is just delivering content through images. They are delivering content through some text. The second example here that you're welcome to poke around on is I wrote a fantasy unit for writing for 5th grade last year, and I created slides so that teachers just had the talking points so they could record their video over it. So you're welcome to look at that example to just see just how a lesson flow might go, right? Here's what you're going to do. Next, I want you to do this in Canvas. Now I want you to go to your seesaw activity and do the following. So you can do that really easy with nice imagery so that kids can see where I need to click, where I need to go in a lesson. On slide 28, if you are presenting information to kids and using Google Slides like a PowerPoint, these are just some tips to keep in mind. And I know I have broken tons of these with this slide deck, but this slide deck is not just to deliver content to you. So keep it simple. Keep it in a landscape orientation because most of the times they'll be viewing it on a screen, right? A computer screen or Chromebook screen or whatever. Limit your bullets and text. It really should not be paragraphs full of information, ideally. If you need them to read something longer, maybe it's a link to something, an article that they can read out or something. We're going to be showing you today how to do some transitions and animations. Although those are super engaging and fun, maybe limiting those to like the most impactful animations. If everything's flying in on the screen, it can be distracting. To use high quality and engaging images or GIFs. So something visually that is helping to make my point, right? To show the cell mitosis, right? And all the imagery there. To have theme. If you'll notice, this slide deck is all just done in a Google theme. So you'll notice the same color scheme across the bottom, the same layout, so that every slide doesn't jump from layout to layout to layout. Using charts, right? Maps and charts and images have way more information than words can convey. Limiting the color usage. Again, too many colors, which I have tons on this slide again, can be distracting. Choosing fonts well. And I know that Nicole, we learned, what did we learn last week, Nicole? That certain fonts don't translate well?
Right. So We're working on that, but coming to an agreement on certain fonts, like their example was Comic Sans, wasn't translating for some of our families at home that might have their Google set up as Spanish as a home language, for example. So we do really have to be thinking about that part of it, but then also just quite frankly, if it's hard for us to read as adults, it's probably hard for our kids to read. So it should be nice, readable font for sure.
I've seen, some darling things that teachers have done, but like for a first grade classroom, they have something in cursive, right, along the top. Like, well, all right, I'm not sure if their kids are going to be able to read that, but it looks darling. We're going to talk a little bit opportunities for kids to engage. Like you're going to have to do right now is sitting there listening to someone blab on and on when you don't have something to do on your end. So the more engaging that slide deck can be, the better. And we'll show some of that. And encouraging feedback from kids, whether that's right through Zoom that they're using the response tools or a way to respond right inside of your slide. So there are tips you can click on, tons of things in here, and it will take you to more and more resources. So another way to do it, besides using slides just to give you information, I can also use slides as a way to get information back from individual students. So I can create a slide deck like this pretty simple inference slide right here, and this is an example at the end. So I could create this inference slide, right? When you're reading today, I want you to type in this little box, you're gonna make an inference and give me your evidence from the text. And I'm gonna ask that you turn that into me. So it's like a digital worksheet, if you will, right? So I'm just gonna ask you to do that work for me. Oops, I hopped around there. And turn it back into me. So you can actually create a slide deck and you can force a copy. And force a copy, and that probably happens to you a lot of times when you see a slide deck. It doesn't immediately take you to the slide deck. It takes you to this little screen that says, do you want to make a copy of it? So if you click this link right here, you can actually force a copy for your students. So they won't get your original. So they can't hop in there and all be working in the same document if I want them all to be working separately. Now, if you do send out an assignment through Canvas and you're doing that as an assignment, it will automatically force that copy for you. Anything to add there, Nicole?
No, I mean, honestly, I will always just take the URL and dump it somewhere, whether that's an open Google Doc or the speaker notes of the slide deck, and do that kind of edit myself. So I just find a space where I can do it before I, paste it in for the students.
So what Nicole's talking about is up here in this Omnibox up here. I can grab this and I can just copy with Command C. And I'm just going to stick it down here in my speaker notes so I can see the entire web address. And it has all of this gobbledygook, right, that gives this specific document. You'll see a backslash right here. Everything to the right of that backslash right there is all information that I can get rid of. And I can type in the word copy, C-O-P-Y. This new web address will force a copy. So let's see if I can copy that real quick for you. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to put it into a new tab here. I'm going to paste this in, and it should, cross your fingers, it should come up and not get you directly there, but it says, do you want to make a copy of this? So the students would receive this screen right here. If you sent them that web address with the word copy on there, they'd make a copy of it, and then they do the work on their own, and then they could submit it to you through there. So that would be a way that you could have individual students respond. Another option for using slides is to have the class all in one slide deck. So you send out one slide deck to the class and you make sure that everybody has the ability to edit that slide deck. You're going to want them all to be able to edit, and you just assign different kids to a different slide. And you don't even have to assign it. Sometimes you can just say, okay, everybody grab a slide, put your name on it. And it doesn't necessarily really matter if you have class numbers or whatever, and they can grab that correct one. This one's pretty interesting. This is an example from the novel A Cricket in Times Square, and the teachers set up this slide deck here. There's my little cover. I've given instructions for the kids and what they need to do. There are little videos in there explaining, and they have to pick a character from the novel and put traits they possess and text evidence, right? They've given them some fun emojis to work with. They even give them tutorials if the kids need some help, but really the bulk of it is just the same slide over and over and over again. It's a postcard from New York, which is where the story takes place, and that's where the kids do their work. So I'm going down slide after slide after slide, and every student just grabs their slide. right? So this one's Nicole's. Great. She starts to do her work right here on the slide. Beautiful part as a teacher, I can see everybody's response right here in one document. The kids can see each other's response right there. It's going to take a little bit of digital citizenship maturity to talk about staying on your slide and not messing with anybody else's slide. But that's a fun, easy, engaging way for all kids to, and I know my son is a middle schooler and he was just thrilled every time he could see some other students' work last spring. So much of it was so isolating that he really appreciated. And all the reading, when you read everybody else's response, that's a whole lot of engagement that you have right there.
I'm going to jump in real quick because
please.
when you're making one of these examples, one thing that I actually learned from a student a couple of years ago was using the Command D function. So pressing Command and D just duplicates items. So it could be duplicating any of the images on the screen, but it also can duplicate an entire slide. So once you've created your master copy, say she's got slide, yeah, she just duplicated slide 5, but let's say you've got that slide 6 that you're going to have students create or grab onto and stay in their lane and edit just their one copy. You make the one version and then you just hit Command D as many times as you have students, and it just makes that go super, super fast for you. So that has been, it's those little, sometimes those little keyboard tricks that just makes my life so much more efficient, that once I have that kind of master copy ready to go, I just hit that Command D function and I'm good.
There's other examples on here, this thin slides. There's all kinds of edu protocols, like everybody just learns this is how we're going to respond, and they do it every time. You go, there's 3 minutes, I want you to do a thin slide response, and after a while the kids know that format and they know what to do. So you're welcome to check that out. Nicole, will you tell us about the using it during Zoom breakout rooms?
Oh, sure. So I was kind of talking about this in the Zoom advanced class last week, but basically you could use this exact same example with the New York Skyline postcard thing. And instead of each individual student jumping on to one of the numbered slides, you would just send the kids into a breakout room and say, okay, your breakout room, whatever number your breakout room is, that's the slide you're going to. So breakout room 1, you're on slide 1, breakout room 2, you're on slide 2, etc. You've also got workable space. I don't know if we've really talked about the gray area surrounding the slides, but you can give directions to the students in that workable gray area as well. So you can see Carrie typing right now. And so that's a lovely space to just kind of give those answers or directions. And then again, I can't stress this enough, but you can live view the students accomplishing the task or the directives that you've given them in a breakout room without having to jump back and forth in between the breakout room. You can individually see all their little bubble heads popping in on the different slides. So you can see right away, I've got 4 kids in this slide. I've got 5 kids in this slide. So you can kind of like see where they're at and live watch as they're filling out the information and staying on task. So to me, this is a wonderful option for breakout rooms. And if you've never tried a breakout room, this would be how I would set it up to get the kids started, especially getting them to understand kind of the academic experience of being in a breakout room. And I would also recommend for the breakout rooms, get them into the habit of turning their video off, just because I think when the video's on, there's a couple of things. It's pulling bandwidth from your internet so it can slow down what they're doing. But if you want them to be in the slide deck, having their video off just keeps them focused on the task at hand. Plus, too, if you have those groups that you just don't know how they're going to handle being in a breakout room, you can jump in and out of those breakout rooms with them none being the wiser, because they're in the slide deck, hopefully answering the content, and you just jump in to hear like the audible sound of what they're doing. So just lots of great kind of management pieces that happen when you're kind of combining both breakout rooms and a slide deck like this. And I wanted to also say, Ashley asked in the chat, how do kids turn this in on Canvas? So if you have students doing maybe a forced copy individual response with a Google slide, they can easily go into their submission buttons and turn in any Google product. There's a great interactivity with Google and Canvas. But in this instance, if you have them doing a collaborative slide like we're talking about here with the multiple different things, I mean, it's one slide deck that you are already the owner to. So I don't know if you necessarily need to turn that in on Canvas, but it can be done the same way.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you, Nicole.
Mm-hmm.
Other uses, obviously you could present planners to them, right? Like they could see, here's the assignments for Monday, here's what's happening this day, just for class organization. There could be links to all the things that they need to accomplish, which I think we've used a little bit in the spring. Could be bigger than that, could be the week at a glance, right? There are all kinds of different schedules in there you're welcome to poke around with. You could do your own personal lesson plans right on there. It makes beautiful tables and charts, and there are tons of people who have ready to go lesson planning that's easy to share with your team. I love this. This is a first grade teacher at Shoals Heights, and she used her Google slide, and the link is right here. Sherry Woldridge was gracious enough to share this with me. She did reading goals for each of her students on a different slide. So she had, there's his goals, right? These are all the things that he's going to accomplish. So when she went to confer with him, she just pulled up his slide, right? And she had all of the goals there, and she had all the kids in one big slide deck, so it was less management. She put the specific anchor charts that he was working on, and again, every student's looks different. So I thought that was a neat use of record keeping for students. Let's see here. Okay, I'm going to hop into to show a few things. So those are just literally some of the uses. There are many more, and I think I even have more on that list, and some that we'll talk about in our advanced tomorrow. So I have a slide deck here that I just opened up brand new, and I invited my friends Kristen and Nicole both to be editors on this with me, and we're going to do a few skills right here. One of the ones that we didn't get to talk about last time are transitions and animations, and also let's see what else. Format options. So we didn't really get to talk about all of those. We talked about a number of the different menus over here. So I'm going to insert an image like we learned how to do last time. And remember that you have the ability to search for the web, so we can search right over here. And I'm going to throw in a picture of a cat, hopefully a cute cat. Oh, there we go. There we go. That's awesome. I want to insert that cat for sure. All right, there he is. I've got this awesome cat here on my slide deck. And remember, you can manipulate them however you want. We can change backgrounds and whatever. So I'm going to get this cat on this slide. And I'm going to create another slide, which is that plus sign on the far left over there. I'm going to create a second slide. And maybe my friend Kristen and Nicole could put some images or something fun. You can do some shapes or whatever on my second slide. That would be awesome, because we didn't get a chance to talk about transitions. So I'm going to touch this transition menu right here. And on this transition menu, you have these options over here on the right. And the transition happens between slides, right? So if you ever watch like literally like a photo slideshow, and like one photo comes into view and then it like dissolves and then another photo comes into view, those are transitions. So those are done over here on the right. And right now I don't have any transition in effect, but I have all of these options here. So if I want it to dissolve, right? That's kind of fancy. So when I go from slide 1 to slide 2, it's going to dissolve. So let's see, if I hit play here, is it going to demo? It's going to go from my cat, and there's my cat. Oh, it dissolved right into there. Beautiful. So that's what I have set up, transitioning into that slide. If I go to my, I'm going to stop the, you get like a little view screen so you can kind of see what's going on. If I go to my, oh, ladies, fabulous. Well done. If I go to my second one here, I can apply a transition to this one as well. So let's pretend I want to, I'm going to cube that. I don't even know, like a Rubik's Cube. Cool. I want to see how that works. I can play it down here, and you're welcome to play around with this. Ooh, yeah, see how it looked like a cube? Oh, if you missed that at home, that was really exciting. Let me just show it one more time. So it looks like one portion of a cube to the next portion of the cube. So that is how you make transitions in between slides. There is another thing down here, which are object animations. And when you touch this object animations down here, you gotta click the, oh, I'm sorry, I'm still animating, I'm having fun. You have the option, when you've clicked an item over here, I can add an animation to this coffee cup. So I can decide that when I click, right, I want something to happen to this coffee cup. I want him to spin, or I want him to fly out. I want him to fly in from the left. So that will be more visual if he flies in from the left. And that will happen when I click. And also I can determine how quickly I want that to happen. Do I want him to go really fast? Do I want him to go really slow? So let's play that, and it will give me my little screen. So the kids are watching, and there's no coffee cup there because I haven't clicked yet. So when I touch the space bar, then all of a sudden it should happen. Come on. Oh, I click. Sorry, I need to click. I didn't click. Okay, I click and beautiful. Oh my gosh, that's exciting. There we go. There is my thing that just flew in. So that can be fun. Obviously not flying coffee cups, but whatever, you could do coffee cups. Perhaps you don't want text to come in until later. You don't want portions to come in until later. So that's how it's done over here on this transition menu over here. And again, I clicked right there to get the transition menu. Anything else on that, ladies?
No.
One of the things that I love, and I just am wondering if it kind of fits in here because I did it anyways, is I love a good drop shadow.
Yes, will you show the menu?
Yeah. Okay, well, let me, I'm not sharing my screen. You want to just, or do you want me to just, they can't see my things that I'm doing. So yeah, I just highlighted that orange circle and clicking on the format options and then highlighting just drop shadow. I always, on all of my things, I remove the outline and add a drop shadow to just about everything. It's my favorite thing to do. So I just want to make sure I show people that.
I love it. I love it. There's all kinds of things you can mess with over here, the positioning and rotation and all kinds of stuff. But that's how, and I do think it makes it look more three-dimensional. So you can add drop shadows to things and it makes them look like they're popping off the screen a little bit more for you. That was perfect. That was our next thing. Bravo.
Oh, was it? Sorry.
Yes. Let's pretend I love this page and I'm super happy with it and I want the kids to do something with it. I had actually produced some, let's pretend I want an image of this. So this is a beautiful worksheet that I've created. I want it to be digital. I'm gonna go down to File and I have the ability to download it. And you have the ability to download it as all different kinds of things. It could be a PowerPoint if for some reason you wanted to. I could make it just a document, right, that they can't manipulate, literally a printable worksheet right there. I could make this an image. So if I wanted to put this perhaps as a background in Seesaw, or I wanted to create a Canvas banner or a button or an image, right? I can create pictures here. And we're going to talk more about that tomorrow in advance and how you can create a transparent background on your images. So stay tuned tomorrow if you're interested in learning more about that. All right, friends, I'm hopping back into our slide deck to tell you about, I'm going to be all the way on slide 39 if you're following along. This is huge, using templates, because you can see a blank piece of paper and you're like, that feels like a whole lot of work to have a really good looking slideshow. So there are people who their job is to create templates. We looked at the templates that are just automatically within Google Docs last time, slides. I love some of these resources right here. I'm going to take you to Slides Mania, which is my current favorite one, but you're welcome to poke around in any of them. And they just have ready to go, beautifully laid out slides images, right? Okay, beautiful. Oh, a whole learning management system. Perfect. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm using this one right now as I'm creating 4th grade digital notebooks. So I'll grab this one. Ooh, a phone app. Awesome. There are more. See more. But wait, there's more. There are all kinds of these templates that are already ready to go. You want to create a digital journal for your kids? There you go, done. There are tons, there are 22 pages worth of these. I'm just on the first page. A planner that you could create for your kids. So I just love the fact that these are done. When you click on one, they're done and it makes it look like I know what I'm doing in terms of really laying out things nicely. You go down to the bottom here, as I'm scrolling, it shows you all kinds of good stuff. I can do it in PowerPoint or I can just touch right there and open it right in Google Slides. So I have this little template. It says, Carrie, are you happy with this template? I said, yes, I'm thrilled. You could go through and look at some of the pages to see what you're thinking. I actually did use this template and I just started modifying it for the first writing unit and adding all the different topics in there. So it just simply takes that layout and it applies it to my very own little Google slide here. So I'm ready to go. I can change it to be whatever I want. I can add pictures on there. I can manipulate the text. It is my little template to make it say what I want to. And the great part is that all the layout is already done for me. So I'm on this page right here, and man, I wish this page had a different type of paper. On layout up at the top, they already have options for me. So if I don't want to have that blank paper, I'd rather have a graph paper, perfect. If I just touch that, it automatically will change the layout of that page for me. So I know that I start here lots and lots of times on just grabbing a layout that I like, and then it can change things up. If you're interested in knowing how to manipulate this, like you wish the color scheme was different or you wish the pages looked different, we're going to do that tomorrow in advance, how to manipulate the template in the master slide. So I wanted to make sure that you saw that there are all of those free templates that you can jump in and grab any one of those. Anything to add, ladies?
No, I love the templates.
I tell you, the templates are like, again, it makes your stuff look super sharp, and you didn't necessarily have to know how to do anything fancy. You can just jump in and stick your information right inside of there. Okay, friends, let's see. I talked about templates.
Pause for a second, because Ashley's asking something specific to your divider tabs option. So Ashley, we will be going over, as Carrie said, the master editing. So once you know what you might use those divider tabs and how they might be different, you can go into the master edit slides and change it once, and it will work for all of the slides moving forward. But you'd have to know, what all of those divider tabs would be ahead of time, right? But we'll cover that tomorrow.
Yes, perfect. Thank you. I'm on slide 40, and slide 40 is how to embed. So you can create Google Slides and you can slide them right into Seesaw or Canvas or a website or a Google site or whatever. And there are videos here showing you how to do that, just like we did the publish to web last time when we touched publish to web. They also have the ability to get a link and the ability to get embed code if you needed that as well to be fancier and stick it into a website. Let's see here. We talked about publishing to web. We talked about forcing a copy. We're doing very well, friends. Hope I'm not talking too fast. I guess you can watch the video back and slow it down. All right, another really cool option to give to kids with Google Slides are choice boards. And so choice boards are actually a fabulous way to differentiate learning. In this example right here, they're doing a novel study. And they have, she's prepared a tic-tac-toe board, which is just like we learned last time. That's just a table. So she inserted a 3x3 table and she just put options like a tic-tac-toe board. So telling the kids, I want everybody to accomplish this one. And then she has less difficult tasks and more difficult tasks here. So it could be, you could tell a group, right? I'd like you to do at least 2 of the yellows. And I want to make sure you guys get 2 blues and you try a, whatever. And you could differentiate and have all of the kids working out of a Google Slides set up in this fashion. Next, slide 44, there's a pretty cool choice board here. And there are videos that are showing you exactly how to set it up. This one was done by some of our 7th grade teachers about the protests. So it gives students options when they hop in, like what are they interested in, right? Not everyone has to read every article or do every video. It's like a whole smattering of resources there for kids to explore, which is pretty cool. And again, gives kids choice, which is empowering. So they're maybe more engaged, more wanting to read it if they have a selection between which thing they're most interested in learning about. So we could probably do a whole session just on choice boards because that's so huge. Another aspect of that is a hyperdoc. And a hyperdoc is a whole thing. It's a whole movement a few years ago, but you're welcome to check out these videos here. It's basically like we talked about where individual students do their work on a slide and then they turn that slide into you. But there are tons and tons and tons of teachers that have already created all of these hyperdocs, and you can find them by linking into that hyperdoc image up at the top. But this is simply a reading reflection hyperdoc. So a teacher has created this. They've got some engaging things. So the kids obviously watch this video, do whatever. What's the most surprising thing you've learned so far? And I, on my own little copy, they've created a text box here for me, and I would go ahead and submit my work right in here. So these are referred to as hyperdocs. I don't know why it's called a hyperdoc. Do you know that?
Yeah, I mean, it went from like a basic web quest to the idea that you're hyperlinking items, and it's no longer just a static worksheet. It's
Yeah, so it's engaging,
more.
right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So there are links here for me to touch. I can watch the tutorial if I need. I can hear her example. I can, do whatever. I am interacting with it right here. So that's the idea. You're welcome again to explore HyperDocs. And I did want to make sure that I pointed out that we have 2 weeks for work week, right? Before school starts. And the first week is pretty much spoken for with principal trainings and whatever, but we've been told that the second week, we have some time to offer some optional PD sessions. So at the end, we're gonna do a feedback form, and we really would be interested in, you know what, Carrie and Nicole and Kristen, I'd really love a session on HyperDocs and building those, or if you're seeing ideas here that you'd like more information on, we can certainly plan more sessions for that. All right, my friends, wrapping it up today with engaging things, right? Gifts. I don't know about you. When people enter them in texting and messaging, I find them just so much more interesting than a static image. Something that's moving on there. You got Oprah giving out gifts left and right, but there are different ways that you can find gifts. And I happen to use this Giphy extension up here, so I've added it to my Chromebook, and you can do so on the Chrome Web Store. And I just have it right here. So if I want to find a perfect GIF for this example, right? Oh, this lady totally frustrated with how much I'm talking, or a flying taco, right? Hello, everyone needs a flying taco. So you can just slide this flying taco onto your slide deck with what? Talk about engagement, right? So I've got a flying taco now happening on there, which is spectacular. And you're really thankful that there's a flying taco on your screen now. So adding gifts, super, super cool and super engaging for kids. Bitmojis. Bitmojis have literally taken the world by storm. And if you have been on the Facebook groups or on any social media, there are teachers that have literally gone Bitmoji bonkers. They're spending hours and hours and hours and hours of time creating Bitmoji resources for their class, which is fabulous, absolutely fabulous. Bitmoji is a little you, right? You get to personalize her or him and make them look as similar to you as possible. It's another extension, so you can click up here and you can add that to your functionality, and then you'll end up with this little icon over here once you add it. And I've got my little Bitmoji maker, and you pick their clothes, you decorate them to be just the way you want, and then you have this little person who's a representative of you that you can drag in, put in your slide decks or whatever, right? So I love this one with the girl with the check mark. I can just slide her right in there, and then I have this engaging little picture of myself. Now, that is super fun, and I could spice up something, right, and make them kind of silly so the kids can see what's going on with my Bitmoji. I do want to preface that we talked a whole lot in our CDL 101 course about humanizing this experience. We've got kids staring at screens, not getting the engagement with a human face that they normally would get. And so yes, absolutely Bitmoji, but also make sure that they're seeing your face, right? So if you can actually insert a video of yourself talking, that's obviously more engaging than this little two-dimensional cartoon, right, of me. So just wanted to share that as a point of caution. Yes, create them. Yes, they're fun. I think they're kind of silly, you know, they can be kind of fun for teachers to see, for kids to see, excuse me, on their end. But you don't want to Bitmoji like the whole world. Like the focus should still be the content, right? And not super, super crazy Bitmojis.
So
yeah.
one more time, just to make sure, because we get a lot of emails about Bitmojis. You need to get the app on your phone first. The app on your phone, create an account, decorate your person, then you can get the extension and sign into your account on your computer to then add it to all of your files and documents.
Perfect. Thank you, Nicole, for adding. And there are secret Bitmojis, apparently. I think it's like Disneyland where there's like secret entrances and hidden Mickeys and stuff, but there are secret Bitmojis, and I put the link here so you can learn about all the different secret Bitmojis. And what I learned, a search term is just to say the word pose, P-O-S-E, like you're posing for a picture, and there's a whole bunch that show up without a bunch of extra stuff, just the teacher like standing, right? So people are turning these Bitmojis into Bitmoji classrooms. Some are trying to emulate what their actual classroom looks like. And some are creating these virtual spaces that just feel homier for kids. I've seen people put their like actual dogs in there. I looked at a darling one yesterday where she had fish moving in a little fish tank, which was engaging. So there are a number, like I said, people are going a little Bitmoji bonkers. So there are teachers who have way more free time than I do, who are making rooms after room after room. And they are also making collections of furniture, lighting, plants, like you name it. I have listed a number of collections right here for you to literally get lost down the rabbit hole. So you click on one of these, you get this first grade lady, she has a lot of time. So she has created lists and lists and lists of stuff, right? So you can go in there and grab like, oh, she has the perfect lamp that I want for my desk or whatever. So she has a ton of that. You can also grab a Bitmoji classroom that's practically done, which I really basically did here. I kind of grabbed a room that somebody had already set up. And so much of it is just simply adding images. So we already learned how to do that. So it's just inserting an image, and it's making sure that you're searching from the web, making sure that you are adding an image that doesn't have a background behind it. So lots of times you can search for transparent. Sometimes that works. Transparent. I need a plant in this room for sure. Let's see if I can find a transparent plant image, and use kind of a guess and check kind of a deal. Sometimes you'll have to try, oh yeah, I want a tree. Does that work? Heck yeah, tree. Sometimes you have to drag it in there and see, was it in fact transparent or is it not transparent? Yes. Oh my gosh, perfect. That totally fits. I did end up with transparent. So there's not a white box behind it. I'm gonna for sure keep this because that's great that I have a tree in my room, right? So you can find images that way. There are fancier ways that you can remove the background on an image, and I have that in our advanced section. You're welcome to look at that slide, and we can, it's Remove BG is this website where they do that. Now they put all of these little images in here and kids can click on them, right? So I touch Clifford and Clifford takes me to watching this book. Little tricky here because I know some people are trying to avoid direct links to YouTube. This is a direct link to YouTube, and we do have a way that you can work around that using Google Slides that we shared, I think, in the beginning. And I also have a slide there about how to do that as well. But another thing that teachers are doing is they are linking manipulatives, right? So I have some Unifix cubes over here. So I happen to find a website on virtual Unifix cubes. If I copy Command C, that little web address, and I come back here, I can link. Remember, if you click and it has its blue handles, I can go up to the linking icon and I can just simply paste that website in there. So now during this lesson, if I want kids to access the Unifix cubes, they know, or this is our resource shelf. When they touch here, they can go to the Unifix cubes. So that is a way to create a number of resources, visual, right, for kids to be able to see. Oh, I want to hear that Pete the Cat book. Boom, I just touch there and I'm able to see the Pete the Cat book. I know there are issues in certain districts that have to do with ADA compliance. And if you did have an impairment that prevented you from being able to see all of this content, when it's hidden in a Bitmoji classroom, it's really, really hard for kids to work around. Do you have more on that, Nicole?
Sorry, no, I was trying to answer Heather's question about the students being able to access on tinier screens. I mean, when we think about all of these things that we are creating, there's so many things that come into play, whether it's the accessibility piece, whether it's, you know, students' experience on their tiny little Chromebook monitors. Like, I know sometimes it's hard if we don't have a student Chromebook with us to like see what they see, but it is something that we have to keep in the back of our minds. I do think the ADA compliance, because Susan was asking about that earlier, within slides, it's not like we're adding in alternative text. You can do that within Canvas, which again is another reason why we've chosen that platform for everyone. But yeah, I think you hit it just right, Carrie. Like, we have to think about that. And if we have a student in our room that's going to be having struggles with that, then we have to think about a different way to provide that information. So
a more complex one here is they've done multiple rooms. So if I hop to the front and I simply just grab this teacher's room right here. So if I was sharing this with kids, I would have it more in a present mode and they would be accessing it this way. And if this is a brain boost room, right, with my silly Bitmoji running there, and they wanted to watch some Go Noodle videos, they would touch here and then it takes you again to another slide. And there are videos that they've put on this wall for kids to be able to access, which is better than like a big old list full of links, right? It's more visually appealing. You can see what I want to go to. So you can see this teacher just has them right here and she linked that first slide to all these others. So those cuckoo kangaroo, I don't even know that. Kids Bop, fun. Yeah, so she's created multiple pages there of multiple rooms for each one of those different topics. Now at the end of this slide deck, and I told you that there are examples. So I'm going all the way down to slide 76. And from 76 almost through the end, there are just examples of different ways teachers have utilized slide decks. So you look here and you're like, oh, that's cool. This is just a fun get to know you. Do you guys prefer pizza or do you prefer whatever? And the kids answer back. So that's a great start of the year. If you click on any image, I have it linked for you right to that slide deck. And I think on most of them, I also put it in the speaker notes as well. My gosh, teachers are using it back to school night, right? Organizing all the information. Learning centers, what do you want to go explore? The kitchen or music or dramatic play? I want to play that. So what? Toy Story, sight word practice. This one I want to check out. It's back to school night, right? Like all the information is tabbed down at the bottom. And again, so she's even got her little timer embedded there where what time it's beginning. Again, you could grab this and just manipulate and change all the information right there, but they're all done for you. So I did want to reference down here because I think it helps to see what other people are doing, right? What, a room just to explore dolphins? Okay, cool. They've got videos. If you watch this live, some of these dolphins actually look like they're a window into an aquarium. They're moving around back there. So you are welcome to create all this, but there are a lot of teachers who've already done a whole lot of work. A virtual calendar, right? Just stuff. Lots and lots of stuff, but there are some Bitmoji classrooms. This teacher did a reading room, right? How cute is that? All those different books that kids can engage with. This is a unit, a writing unit, her personal writing unit. She's got all the lessons linked there and all of her anchor charts. And again, I've been enjoying these. Teachers have been organizing a class library, a virtual class library in Epic. So she has them organized by reading level, by genre tab, and kids can, these are all just links. Kids can link right to the thing and go to that specific Epic library that that teacher has built. This is a kindergarten library where again, they're by author or by theme back here in the back. Gosh, more and more stuff, just stuff. I think it's just helpful to see what people are doing. These are really engaging, right? The one and only Ivan. This is just hearing the book. You can watch the book trailer. They've got an audio of each one of like a read aloud story, right? So I think it's fun. Oh, I love this one, 97. I linked that little Unifix cube up front, but check out what this teacher has done. All of these link to specific math manipulatives, as well as each one of these up front are entire sites full of math manipulatives. So slides is just awesome, right? Oh, I like that one. Slide number 99 is recess. Right, an indoor recess. Let's take a little break and play Othello or checkers or whatever, indoor recess. So you can check out, I'm gonna stop talking about all of them because I'm out of time, but you can check out all of those. Design your own cubby, what? In advance, there are some that involve manipulating and moving shapes. We're gonna talk about that next time, how you can create those so that kids can be engaging with them. Charlotte's Web, what? 110, all the chapters of Charlotte's Web, fun. She's doing a book a month, I think. That's great. Slide 113, expectations. She just stuck her Bitmoji in her Zoom expectations. Here's what I'd like you to do, and just created a visual for kids to share with. So again, so many things you can do. This teacher created things that move around and the kids make words or rhyming words. Meet the teacher. My gosh, I'm going fast. I promise I'm about to stop. I did want to direct you to the very end. I'm all the way down on slide 124. And again, I apologize, it's so huge, but there are so many cool things. I think it's helpful to see what another teacher is doing and it can inspire you. Slide 124, Google has their own training where they have a whole bunch of just videos and courses you can work your way through to learn more about Google Slides. So you can click right there on that link and check out some more training. And, whew, Slide 125 are the 3 steps at the end of this course. I want to tell you this, and then we'll see if we can answer some questions here at the very end. If you can give us feedback, like I said, we are planning the next PD, what happens during work week, and then Wednesdays we'll be offering PD throughout the school year. So that will help us plan for what would be helpful next for you. Make sure that you have registered for this in TeacherSource, and then we are, again, the intermediate course. So if you click right here in the intermediate, it will take you to the self-check-in screen. Oh my gosh, I know that was a lot. Do we have any questions or themes of questions that you think we can answer?
Well, Ashley's kind of saying, where would we put these things for kids to see them? Like that Zoom expectations with the Bitmojis all over it. And I don't know if you want me to answer that or if you want to answer it.
I say you go for it.
Well, I think one thing, and we'll probably be talking about this in the advanced course, but you could take any version of these slides and embed them straight into a page on Canvas, for example, so that your Bitmoji classroom with the Go Noodle stuff or whatever could be straight in Google Canvas or in Canvas so that kids can access it. But I also think there's something to be said about using it in a synchronous environment on Zoom. We have to be teaching a lot of skills to students about, what it means to be academic within Zoom, and, teaching through the Google Slides is one way for them to do that, or for us to do that. So I think you have to think multiple places. You're not going to have kids at every live Zoom that you have. So you do need to put it in either Seesaw or Canvas. But it also is something that you can teach through. You can use a lot of these same strategies to build your slides to create your own videos to teach content. So there's a lot, like you said at the beginning, there's a lot of different ways to go about utilizing, the skill set of building something in slides.
That's perfect. Another option is you could have when you publish it to the web, it essentially becomes like a website. So I would probably have a slide that was just like my classroom home base, right? Like have information about the teacher and how to contact me or what our schedule is, just some of that generic information that kids could have access to all the time. So I'd probably, like we used in the spring, that's what I would likely do, is have just a home base and have the parents bookmark that, right? And obviously I would put that in Canvas or in Seesaw as well. But I know in Seesaw, it can get lost in the feed, right? It's hard to keep that pinned at the top. So that's another possible workaround. Any other questions that jump out, or any other things you ladies wanted to add?
I'm not sure if we have any more. I'm excited for people to be able to explore this access and access this slide deck that you've built, Carrie, because I remember back in the day when we used to try and tell teachers, we need to move to Google, we need to use slides. And I remember a lot of the default was, I can't make things as pretty in slides as I can in PowerPoint or something. And I think at this point, hopefully people have seen the magnitude of what slides can really honestly do. And I mean, if anything, the Bitmoji craze has definitely taught people to go above and beyond in slides. And I think, when we think about in terms of students being massive consumers of content, I was kind of poo-pooing like Bitmoji stuff for a really long time. Again, thinking in terms of humanizing, we want to see our live face and that sort of thing. But I have a middle school daughter and she thinks the Bitmoji classrooms are wicked cool. So I think there is something to be said about kind of upping our game. And I think when you see that there's stuff pre-made already, whether it's in, Slides Mania, Slides Carnival, Slides Go, whatever, any of those templates that are pre-made, all of these Bitmoji classrooms that people have already made, and that you can just either use straight as is or add in your own content and the work has been done for you, is just phenomenal. So
and when you hear the amount of time it's taking people to make them, I'm so gracious that they're sharing them so freely.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. So tomorrow at noon, we will have an advanced class. And if there's something that you'd like us to cover, we still have time. That's not quite all ironed out. So stick that in the chat really quickly. And we hope to see you, and we hope this was helpful to you. So thank you everybody for joining us.